I just noticed it. You know what I mean? It's a game. You know what I mean? Like, we do play a game. You know what I mean? I know I'm not, you know, I'm just saying, like, we play a game and it is what it is.
Chris Paul stands before the media in a kiwi-colored sweatshirt with the word nappy across the chest and a thermoplastic urethane Pyremoss logo rain jacket that stops at his shins. He's wearing Legacy 312s, the color of the aliens from Toy Story, and around his neck is an owl necklace, a golden bird of prey with diamonds in its stomach. Real swashbuckling stuff. He only takes it off for games.
I always got this on. I don't take this off ever.
Paul seems relaxed enough, if a little embarrassed, and he explains himself.
That happens more often than not. Sometimes refs just be like, whatever, but that is the rule. You know what I mean? If you check in without your jersey and tuck, it's a delay game. Call it what you want to, but...
Did you know that they'd already had one earlier?
Yep.
Were you looking for it?
Wasn't expecting it.
To understand the comments above, we have to go back. Back to earlier in the night when there were 1.7 seconds left in the fourth quarter and the Minnesota Timberwolves had a 121-119 lead and the ball out of bounds.
Now you have to foul right away. You can't let the ball.
The ball is opposite the Oklahoma City Thunder's bench on the Timberwolves end of the floor, and Trevion Graham inbounds it to Karl Anthony Towns. The Thunder foul immediately. Towns goes to the line.
Towns can put this game away at the line.
Things can change quickly. There was a time not long ago when the drafting of Jordan Bell was deemed another example of Golden State Warrior brilliance.
We try to draft guys that help us win. It's pretty simple.
This past summer, depending on whom you asked, Paul was a hobbled albatross with hamstring and James Harden problems who had no interest in coming to Oklahoma City and little hope another organization would want to take on his contract.
Chris Paul is no longer a great player. He is a good player, but not a great one.
Things are different now. He's played so well this season, been so steady, so consistent, so annoying, feeling himself so much sometimes that when he gets to his spot around the elbows and lets the ball go, he just shouts layup and starts running to the other end of the floor. If there was a word cloud for his season, rejuvenated would be so gigantic you wouldn't even be able to see any of the other words.
Paul double-teamed, heaves it from half court. Oh, and he got it to go!
Things are different now. Towns is at the line. He's an 80% free throw shooter. He's also about to be miserable. Coming into this game, the Timberwolves were 10-10. They've won 9 games total since, and during a particularly rough stretch this winter, lost 13 in a row and 18 of 19.
You know, you got to go through hard times to get to where you want to be, and we're in a hard time.
Right now, they're 19-45 and hoping D'Angelo Russell is their savior. On with it, though.
80% free throw shooting.
Towns misses the first. The arena starts buzzing.
Timberwolves left that door open slightly.
Bell checks into the game. His jersey's untucked. Paul sees this, takes a couple steps in official Scott Foster's direction, and shouts,
And you want him to make this free throw.
Here's the deal. Foster and Paul are not amigos.
I don't know. It was a lot of fun. I got a tech tonight. Yeah, Scott Foster at his fine.
Despite this, Foster acquiesces, blows his whistle, rings up Bell, delay of game.
Minnesota just got dinged for a delay of game.
Thing is, the Timberwolves had already been charged with another delay in the third quarter. Who got rung up then, you ask? He took too long getting ice packs off his knees at the scorer's table when he was about to check in.
They tacked him right away with a delay of game. Now, what about if you walk on with 2 heat packs and a cherry soda?
That this was the second delay meant an automatic technical on Minnesota. Paul knew this. So did the Wolves. Jeff Teague sort of sprint walks away with his hands on his head. Minnesota head coach Ryan Saunders stands there with his jaw on the floor. Paul heads to the other end for the technical, makes eye contact with Saunders and says something. Saunders smirks and rolls his eyes. The Thunder's TV analyst, Michael Cage, gives his thoughts on the call.
Now that's big.
Still a 1-point game. Now, if Minnesota gets another...
Danilo Gallinari hits the free throw. It's 121-120. Timberwolves are still up. Back to the other end.
If you're Towns here, after missing the first, probably want to miss the second.
The Thunder have no timeouts. Their only shot off a rebound would be a prayer from somewhere well beyond half court. All Towns has to do is miss, and they can take it to the house.
It is a one-point game. See what he does here.
He makes it. Sheesh. 122-120, still 1.1 left on the clock. Thunder ball. Sometime during all this madness, unbeknownst to a majority of the American public, Dennis Schröder and Steven Adams had this exchange. Adams takes the ball out of the net, gets both feet out of bounds, and Elway's a dream the length of the court. Schröder, who should be the front runner for Sixth Man of the Year, has a step on Teague, and Adams drops it in a bucket. Schröder one-hands it out of the Oklahoma sky, and on the run, banks one in off the glass to tie it and send the game to overtime. There was an entire period left to play, but the Wolves had already lost. The Thunder outscored them 17-5 during overtime and one going away.
And what a win for Oklahoma City in comeback fashion.
Did you know that they had already had one earlier in the
Yep.
Paul did more than just tattle. His final line for the night, 30 on 11 of 20 from the field, plus 4 rebounds, 7 assists, and even 2 blocks. But what a time that tattle was. Anything to win.
It's a game.
Knowing the rule and fussing long enough and loud enough to make Foster aware of what was going on is just about the most Chris Paul thing imaginable. This is Surratt on the island of Le Grand Jatte. Ron Burgundy on the jazz flute at Tino's. John Taffer screaming at a ball. Your bar sucks. Imagine getting to see Beethoven compose his Ninth Symphony. Imagine getting to see a genius of that level craft their masterpiece. You don't have to. You got to see Chris Paul tell on somebody for checking into the game with their jersey untucked, and you got to see it work.